Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Critical Catch podcast. My name is Scott and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Costa.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Lee can't make it tonight, so it's just the two of us, but that doesn't mean the fun stops.
No.
There's been so much stuff going on. Champions is still ramping. Still feels like the hype is still ramping up, which is absolutely insane, really. I'm still addicted, although I have played it a lot less than I would like to. And yeah, it's in a good place. How you been, Costa? How you doing?
Yeah, doing great, my friend. Conversely, I've been playing more champions. I took part in Victory Road's weekend tournament that had over 1,000 people and over
Wow.
$10,000 worth of a prize pool. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's been fun. Let's not talk about my result, but it was a great experience, and it is really, I would say, positive to see that, like you said, the hype is still going. And
Mhm.
I just feel like at this point, it's just growing because we also saw NAIC absolutely sell out in terms of tickets because we know it's going to be on Champions. So a lot of people are very, very hyped for it and they just want to get that, Champions action going within real life tournaments, especially when championship points and prize money are on the line too.
Mm. Yes, it is. It is very exciting. I feel like everyone just, like you said, everyone wants to jump in
Oh, yeah.
and jump straight in. But should we dive into today's topics? Because I feel like there's a lot to discuss.
You bet there is. So yeah,
So yeah, sorry, right. Cut that. No, never mind. Okay, right. The main topic for today's discussion
Yep.
is kind of started from a meme tweet from a well-known Pokemon player,
Very well known.
Francesco Pardini, basically saying that Champions is paid to win because Mega Floette is on every team and it's the only Pokemon you need to do well. And
Hmm.
proceeded to then post the results of said tournament over the weekend that Costa participated in to show that the top 8 included none of Mega Floette. Obviously proving, in fact, that this tweet is just ironic, and that Mega Floette is probably not as good as people originally thought it would be. So, as you can see, the standings are here. We've kind of already got like a meta forming, like sun. Weather is like obviously a big part of the meta at the moment.
I think it's probably the biggest part, in all
Yeah,
honesty.
sun
Yeah.
and sand revolving around two of the best megas, Mega Charizard and Mega Tyranitar. And then sneezes everywhere, Garchomp's everywhere, and then a handful of like Trick Room, King Gambit, Sinistcha, Farigiraf, Basculegion, Aerodactyl. There's quite a lot of variety in my opinion. Like, I see a lot of fun stuff on ladder, but like you said, it does feel like there's more of a meta forming. And like we were saying, Francesco joked about it being paid to win, but we wanted to discuss whether we actually do think whether it's paid to win, because obviously they have locked Mega Floette, Mega Delphox, Greninja, and Mega Chestnut behind Legend ZA. So some people would argue that it is frustrating if you don't have the game and they're kind of forcing you to go out and buy a copy of ZA and play it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I think it is a very good game, but I think it's more the labor and time that's involved. Obviously, the whole point of Pokemon Champions is to reduce the labor and to make things a lot easier to team build, to then kind of push people to another game, and then grind the whole game, and then plus all the post game content in order to get Eternal Floette and the Megastone. Is really frustrating. Whether or not they add it in the next format, like in the next format or like soon, whether they'll just give people the opportunity. They're meant to be listening. Obviously, one of the whole things they have recently introduced community partners. They're meant to feedback obviously a lot of the concerns and stuff from the community. So I wonder if this will be something that they will rectify in the near future, or whether it's just going to be the norm. Are they going to make it so that you have to pay for Pokemon? Are they going to give that as an option? What are your thoughts, Costa?
I mean, it never feels good knowing that, oh, I need to go and pay this amount of money to get a game in order to go ahead and only complete it and then get one of the most busted Pokemon of a new
Yeah,
format.
yeah, yeah.
But conversely, we had Pokemon ZA come out sometime now, before Champions,
Uh-huh.
and it was all about the focus of Mega Evolution. And we know this format, in particular, Champions, has the first regulation M-A or -A format, which is all about megas. So one would assume that whilst people were trying to wait until Champions releases and all that, like how many months worth of time, and we've had DLCs too, that people would be pumped, they'd be amped, so they'd want to go and buy it. And obviously, that's not going to fit the bundle of all people, especially when it comes to the competitive aspect of stuff. Like, let's say we've got new content, or not even new content creators, but we've got content creators like variety content creators from other games and stuff like that jumping on the bandwagon, which we're going to go into more detail afterwards. But for now, with my point, it's more so that it's what they had set up in my eyes in terms of the marketing roadmap that
Mm-hmm.
they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they had certain beats that they needed to cover in order to be able to try to profit and gain maximum potential of, like sales, really. And, ZA was just part of the plan, followed up, which to give them credit, it was probably like one of the best follow-ups in terms of like the release game lineup, where you've got ZA with all the megas and stuff like that. And the moment that Champions came out, there was home compatibility as well that became available. And they had a couple of the event Pokemon from ZA hailed as, oh, you can transfer these now. So from a marketing point of view, it's made a lot of sense. From a community point of view, yeah, there understandably going to be people that are upset, but it's just the nature of the beast in my eyes, really.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you said. I get what you said. Sorry, it makes a lot of sense from their perspective.
Mm,
I guess what I was kind of just thinking while you were talking there was like, if, but again, it kind of makes sense. Like, if you're going to
mm,
have new players coming in, especially when the mobile version comes out, right?
yep.
Um, you know, they're probably not. They if you like, if you're attracting like a brand new player who've never really played any Pokemon games before, and they're like, oh, there's this like, oh, I played, maybe they played one Pokemon game, or they had some kind of link to Pokemon. They go, oh, I'll give it a try. But they won't necessarily have bought any main series games in a long time, because I know there's
Hmm.
quite a lot of people like that.
Yep.
They want to get in, and then they hop on and realize, oh, I can't use this Pokemon because I haven't played Pokemon ZA. And maybe these people will be like, oh, this is kind of you know, maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe we'll go play a new Pokemon game for once. Maybe it's a good excuse for someone to pick up a mainline series game.
Hmm.
I think for me as well, like, I was holding back to buy ZA because I don't have a Switch 2 yet.
Hmm.
So I know it does run on the original Switch, but I wanted the best experience. So I was
Yeah.
waiting until
Fair.
I went and purchased a Switch 2 so that I could enjoy it in its best form. So that's why I'm frustrated. I mean, thankfully, like I said, there's enough variety in the current format that you're not screwed by it. I mean, Mega Delphox and Mega Flare are quite good, but it's obvious that they're not the best.
Nope.
It's
As
just,
Francesco highlighted there
as
as well.
Francesco, exactly that. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna. It upsets me, but like, I'm not gonna cry about it. It just is. I just have to accept it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will add. I mean, like we were talking about in the last episode, when it comes to certain Pokemon, are they going to start locking them behind games, or is
Mm.
it going to be like, are they going to allow you to pay for a certain type of Pokemon? Are they going to lock it behind a battle pass? When we do the legendaries, I just
Mhm.
is and like, where does the recruitment process come in? Because obviously they're always probably going to not let every Pokemon available in the format to be put into the recruitment process.
It doesn't make sense for them to do that. No.
Even if they did, I mean, I don't want to try not to moan, but the recruitment process is very gacha, and
Oh,
it
that's
is,
part of the point of it, right? Like
yeah,
it's clear design there.
yeah. So like, I get it, but yeah, it's like I said, it feels like two steps forward, one step forward, two steps backwards in a certain sense, because
Mm.
point of the game is to make everything more accessible, and then all of a sudden you're locking it behind a paywall. But
Yeah, but like Scott, let's be real, okay? So at least, if we've got viewers at home which are newer to the competitive scene and all that, this isn't the first time this has happened. And I would probably argue this is the lowest impact time I've ever seen a sort of paywall-esque Pokemon having as much of an influence on the meta. Not only because of, let's say, top 8, whatever, there was no Mega Floette and stuff like that. It's the amount of Pokemon. We've seen the likes of Calyrex, both Shadow Rider and Ice Rider, where you had to go and complete the game with Sword and Shield and then complete the DLC in order to go ahead and attain it. And that's just one example. You've got other examples from even, I think, what was it? It was the other DLC, actually, of Sword and Shield, where you could go into the
Crown Tundra
raids. Was it Crown Tundra? Yeah, it must have been. Where you could go into the sort of like a Dynamax raid area, tunnels and all that, where you had
to
like
get the legendary Pokemon.
yeah. And at the time, that was probably like the best way that you can go and do it. Because I think there are moments where there wasn't home compatibility, and that's the way in order to bring it into the next game. So it's happened before. This isn't the first time.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I guess the argument could be that ZA is a much more expensive game than a £15 DLC.
But it's not mandatory on Switch 2. You can do it on Switch 1 and you can technically get it. So unless you mean the actual price of the game versus the amount of investment you need to put in order to have it on Switch 2 and then play the game.
No, but I mean, like, if you wanted to get the legendary Pokemon, okay,
Yeah.
like you said, they had that barrier to entry. You had to go buy the DLC to get any legendary Pokemon if you wanted it in the game. What I'm saying is that only costs you, what, £15 per DLC? Whereas for me to go get ZA, it's going to cost me 60 quid, regardless of whether I get it on my Switch 1 or on my Switch 2.
No, but there was Sword and Shield, the actual game you had to buy at the time. You had to buy that and then get the DLC.
Yeah, but most people already had it in the competitive. Like, if you were playing competitive, you already had the game. That's what I'm arguing.
But then the case can be made that not everyone would have had it. Like, so what if no one has the right Pokemon? Like when we've, let's say, progressed into Scarlet and Violet, right? And we had formats like Regulation Set I right now has 2 legendary Pokemon, and this is the current competitive format. Not everyone would have played Sword and Shield. Not everyone will have access to a Calyrex Shadow Rider or Ice Rider or Zacian for whatever reason. So they will still have to go buy the game and then do DLCs on it. That's essentially dead in terms of hype because it's like a pre-generation game.
I guess the only counter argument to that is you could get them traded to you from other people, right? Whereas you can't do that with this because you'd have to link your home to someone else's game, which I'm not sure is allowed.
I think there's like a GTS method, if I'm not mistaken, with home compatibility. I'm not sure whether it's like illegal or not means. I don't have as much info about it, but I have heard a couple of stuff that there could be a way that you can do that.
That's different. But I'm working on the basis that you can't trade it from anyone. You have to go do it yourself. Because like there's Pokemon like Raging Bolt, which is a massive, and Iron Crown, that was a massive ball buster to go get.
Yep, beautiful save.
Which I never did because I was like, well, obviously if I wanted to play that and I had someone who had it, I could borrow it. But yeah, like you said, you're 100% correct. They have done this in the past.
And to a worse degree.
My opinion. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's unfortunate, 100%. Like you said, the barrier of entry has sort of lowered the most it ever has in all of the entirety of competitive Pokemon, at least when it comes to the video game. And sort of you feel like, okay, it's a backhanded compliment. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you've allowed us to do this, but at the same time, go and pay money so you could get this Pokemon. But it's been worse. This is the least impactful it's been. Yeah, I agree. I would have preferred not having to try to go and complete or buy and complete a whole other game in order to get Mega Floette. But like my hope is they don't go through with this strategy moving forwards. But from a marketing point of view, I can see them totally doing this in the
Mm.
future again when we've got Winds and Waves that comes out. I'm very confident just with what my experience has been with the whole Pokemon series over time that they're definitely going to have certain signature Pokemon come in as events or some stuff like that. With who knows, maybe the new gimmick will be bespoke to a couple of those Pokemon that get introduced and create a new format until other Pokemon with the gimmick get involved.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, fingers crossed, but yeah, most likely gonna look like that. It's just because I never bought ZA. That's why we're in this situation. Whereas normally I would buy them, but yeah, no, there's nothing sort of else I kind of want to say on that specific topic. I think we kind of just covered everything there without going around. So anything else you want to add before we move on?
I mean, it's just more so that players and people that are willing to try to give VGC a shot shouldn't try to sort of absorb these sort of negative takes, which I get it. There's validity, like we already covered quite a bit there in terms of concerns around pay to win, blah blah blah, whatever. But like, just rock up with your genuine own Pokemon that you get in the ranch itself, and even from home that you're able to bring from your older games. I think I saw Oliver put a tweet out today where they went ahead and brought a Gengar, shiny Gengar from like Gen 4. And the beauty of Champions is that IVs don't factor in anymore, which means you can genuinely
You can just have
bring
a shiny Pokemon, doesn't matter how bad it is.
Mate, yeah, exactly. You really don't need to care about the inherited
Whereas back in
value.
the day, breeding, getting a shiny Pokemon with perfect IVs, perfect ability, it was painful.
Mate, kids nowadays don't know the struggle.
They
That's
do
all
not
I'm
know
gonna
the
say.
struggle. They do
Oh
not know
my
the
god.
struggle.
But that's sort of my point. That more than ever, it is true. This game has been the most accessible VGC has ever been. It's allowed it to be the case. So even if you don't have the Mega Floettes or the Mega Delphox, whatever, yeah, it's unfortunate, but they're not gonna guarantee win you games. We literally see in the Victory Road top 8 no Delphox, no Chestnut, no Greninja, no Floette.
Yep.
So the proof's in the pudding.
The proof's in the pudding. You are correct. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Costa.
Oh, I like hearing that. Please say it more.
Nope, never again. That's all you're getting.
Yeah, it's all right. I tried. I'll take it. I shall take it. But yeah, and the beautiful thing about this all, and we did slightly touch on it before, is sort of seeing newer players getting involved more than ever. We had a couple of weeks ago the warm-up challenge, 720,000-ish players, give or
Actually
take.
crazy, isn't it?
Insanity. This Victory Road tournament, to note, it was a sort of entry fee tournament, online tournament, which it wasn't sort of like you could just for free sign up like the general limitless grassroots tournaments there are. I think it was like $12 American or something like that. So naturally, not as many people will sign up for it because obviously there's a price that you have to pay, quite literal, versus just rocking up to a limitless one. So the fact that we're getting 1,000 players competing,
it's crazy.
It's genuinely insanity, and I don't think a lot of people are touching on how crazy that is. And we're gonna see next week even more crazy. We're gonna see a 10,000 player tournament online hosted by Scroll VGC, which that is literally the largest Pokemon tournament across all games and genres of all time. Concurrent.
Question. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that tournament will be won by a known player or a new player?
Oh, I like it. So I'm glad you asked because there may be not a lot of people that know me, but yeah, I might be winning. No,
that's not possible. Costa's really bad. It's really bad. There's a reason he transitioned into casting. That's okay,
mate. Hey, it's all right. I'll accept that trashing. Unfortunately, Lee isn't here, so I can point the finger to him and say, "Hey, look at this guy." But no, I think it's a genuine 50-50. Okay. Realistically, from an analytical point of view, it's probably going to be a well-known player. And if it's not a well-known player, it is a known player. So maybe not as well known. The odds of a new player, and when we say new to competitive, not just new to VGC, because we've got the Justin Tangs of the world where they did have a bit of more experience with singles previously hopping into VGC, so they weren't just like
a lot of people make that transition, don't they?
That's what I mean. But it's fair. And you can see like how quick they are to adapt from the singles to doubles format. And, they're excelling substantially. 3-time regional champ, Justin Tang, right? So I feel like one of those players definitely could. I genuinely don't think I would not put any stocks in a newer player that's just started competitive with champions to win. I just feel like statistically, the odds are so minimal because of the amount of players we've got. But then again, you never know. This is Pokemon VGC. That's the beauty of it. You genuinely never know. Anything could happen. And that's what, is part of the beauty of this game.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I think I also agree with you. I kind of think that it'll probably be a known player. Because these are the guys that are grinding it out.
Oh yeah, they already have been, mate. They've been grinding both champions as well as regulation set I prep, because we still got the current format being regulation set I for Prague, I believe.
It's crazy, isn't it? And Utrecht
for EU, yeah. And I think there's one or two more American ones, or maybe just one more actually, unless it's Indy straight away. We'll see. But regardless, they live and breathe VGC. We've got the Michel de Bests of the world. We've got the Justin Tangs. We've got the Joe Ugarte.
There's Melbourne on the 23rd.
Hey, ooh, okay.
And Lima in Latin America.
Lovely. Okay, and then Indy is the first champions. Format. Okay, and we got confirmation that Turin is also going to be champions too, which is lovely news. So yeah, everything from Indy onwards will be
Campinas as well in Latin America.
Hello. Okay, cool. So what's the one above? Okay, and then LA.
Jesus Christ, there's so much.
Okay. Oh, actually, funnily about that, I know that. So this goes into the topic about the content creation boom that we've seen with champions. I know that Fuslie will be taking part in LA, and
well, that makes sense. They live in. She lives in LA, so.
Yeah, I was going to say she wasn't happy about champions not being played there, as obviously we are with, guess what, Prague and Utrecht and every other event before Indy. But no, so it's great to be able to see all of these just people, just known names from other games hopping in, giving it a go. Fuslie in particular, she's had some really good sort of VOD vids coming out. I think they call them VOD.
They're really good from like a sorry, I don't mean to butt in. From showing
the
experience from like just like someone who's never really played the game before. So vlogs. The crazy thing about the video she's done on Pokemon, and we've discussed this in length, but for the viewers that don't know this already, so she's done Pokemon videos on her channel before, some Nuzlocke and stuff, and she obviously likes Pokemon because she's a lot of like I said, Pokemon gets you in the nostalgia.
We grew up with them, mate.
And so everyone's got some kind of link to Pokemon. So she's played Pokemon stuff on her streams before. I've seen her do it. But recently she started playing competitive Pokemon. I think she got coached by Wolfie a bit as well. And she's done...
It's predominantly been James Baker, I think.
James Baker as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Never mind then.
You got to give James my respect.
Names, you're right. James Baker is also very good. I have beaten him in the best of one, but yeah. Anyway, so I can be coached Fuslie, but never mind.
James requests for a rematch.
Yeah. So she's done 3 videos recently on compared to Pokemon. They've got more views than most of her videos get. Like sometimes like triple, quadruple, 5x what her views normally get on her channel, which is crazy, which kind of shows the demand. Like, bearing in mind, like she's already got an audience, and so she's obviously getting new people come in, and people obviously like it because, well, the first one she did you can see here, got 324k. Second one, 2 months later, 313k, and then one she released last week was 145k.
Good stuff.
And she was also on stream for What regional was
For
it?
a very funny, I think it was Orlando, the
That would
one
make
that
sense.
happened. Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm just literally I remember watching her video on it, and just like the self burns that she was applying were just like top tier level. And I was just like, okay, cool, because she was going over the actual footage itself, and she's like, okay, yeah, this is the point where I'm just like, oh my god, what have I just done? I've kind of like screwed myself over. I don't have the right moves. I'm speaking to the judge on the side whilst moves are happening and the game's being played. And my opponent says, oh yeah, I know what kind of team you're running and all that, to the build up of going onto stream, and I know who you are. And she's like, oh, okay, great, cool. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your team is. So this is going to be fun. Nice. But no, it's great to be able to see her point of it as a newer player, but also,
It's great for the
pretty,
community, isn't it? Really, because like
yeah.
obviously we've got the scene's quite small,
Mhm.
in comparison to other esports, and
Oh yeah.
we've obviously got the people within the scene, like the good players, are obviously well known, but then you've got content creators that are slowly sort of growing the scene more and more. Obviously, Wolfie being the main one, who's kind of the poster child for Pokemon at the moment, and his content's great at luring new people in, because he
True.
like does it for such a large audience. So to see other content creators, like big content creators, kind of throw their hat in the ring, like Foosley, and Disguised Toast, who I'll get onto in a second,
Mate, yeah.
it's really exciting, to kind of bring more people in. And like I said, seeing it from their perspective, from a new player, because I think like a lot of players who've been playing for a while, like you and myself, we've been playing for over 10 years, so it
I
can be
remember.
difficult to remember what it was like to first start playing,
Mm.
and also kind of see it from someone's perspective now, because I think we're kind of spoiled. Like I often, when I go to Pokemon events now, think about, wow, like if you told, how old was I when I first started playing?
Oh,
15-year-old
you think
me,
that. Hey.
like I was walking around at UIC this year, and I was like, if you told 15-year-old me, who used to go to Crawley PC locals with like 10 people, and I used to make my parents fucking drive me there, an hour back, that in 10 years' time, or 11 years' time, whatever it is, you'll be going to the XL, basically the entire side of the XL will be booked out. There'll be
Yeah.
stalls, there'll be events, there'll be food, there'll be massive productions for everything. I'll be like, ain't no way, brother. And now we even have our own competitive game, which I never ever thought. Keep saying this. I never thought we'd ever get our own competitive game, which is
Stop, mate.
crazy.
Scotty boy, we've been saying this for so many years about, hey, could we get a showdown like app or game in order for us to do the thing and avoid the haters of the Verlis in the world and all that when they try to put a dampen on, the community with all the hacked Pokemon stuff. And this just solves everything. This is it. This is the game we've been wanting. And we can see peeps like Disguised Toast, which I'm going to be completely honest here. I didn't know who that was until Strop told me about it. Sorry, Disguised Toast, but he's a big Among Us guy that got popular during COVID. There you go. That's
He was
the.
already popular, but he popped off during COVID.
Oh, okay, yeah. You see, showing how much I do not know. Apologies.
But he was using Wolfie's Mega Sky Villain team. Mate, my
Okay.
computer is chugging. Um, but yeah, he was using that. He was quite a high rank as well. I was just trying to find out if I could.
I think it was Master Ball.
No, he was in Master Ball rank, but I just wanted to see
Yeah.
how high he actually was.
I think it was like rank 2 or something. Maybe it was like 1900s, and he couldn't
Oh, he was.
like
It
beat
was in the 1900s for
2000s.
sure.
Yeah, I don't think he reached 2000s, but he was going there, and to be fair to him, he was calling out a couple of good plays and all that. So it's this big boom that we're talking about, and not only that. Actually, I saw, I think maybe last week or the week prior when Champions just came out, that
Yeah,
man,
1930.
so
That's not bad.
1930. So
No,
Smallland actually gave it a go as
I'm on the
well.
wrong thing. What am I
You are.
doing?
I was trying to stay professional, Scott, and just ignore it and just do the thing.
I've got too many things. Yeah, so
Point is,
1930, high rank.
1930. Yeah. So high rank. I was going to say, so Small Ant as well. I saw him give Champions a go.
Uh-huh.
He was rocking up with the Milotic team and all that. He kind of enjoyed it. I think he didn't reach Masters. It was like a live stream, but I'm confident he did a video. Like oh wait, there you go. I tried Champions. It's the bottom one. There you go. So he gave it a bit of a go, and yeah, there's some. To be fair to him, like he's a hyper competitive, gamer. right?
Mm.
Who
The speed was it? He's like a speedrunner, right?
yeah, he's a speedrunner, but he's a proper gamer. You see some of the moves and like the dexterity and all that stuff, like super sequencing speed that he's got. It's really good. He's got like a lot of experience when it comes to like Nuzlocke stuff, of course, which are predominantly in singles. So he's got transferable skills.
Mm.
Right. And that's sort of what we're talking about, where people are so used to the format of, oh, okay, my one Pokemon versus your one Pokemon. They grew up with all of that nostalgia stuff. And Sman is a case where he could really translate that if he really wants to give it some time to grind. So I personally feel like he's gonna get looped into this sort of like content creation explosion of champions, and you never know, he might rock up to a tournament. Maybe he even got an NAIC ticket. We'll see.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of creators sort of coming out the woodwork to give it a try. How long it lasts is going to be very interesting. Um, but yeah, it's because I remember, just on a quick note, I remember when they were doing the Mew Terror raids.
Yep.
In Scarlet and Violet, that Valkyrie, another big streamer, was doing. I think she was sponsored by Pokemon to do some streams for that to try and hype it up. So I think when it comes out on mobile, I'm interested to see what kind of push they do into the masses, because that's obviously when it's going to hit the mainstream normies, if you wanna use that word. But because I think that's I think they'll push that a lot harder than they did the release of Champions on the Switch.
Well, I think that's where just the whole roadmap, the project roadmap.
That's where they
that
make
they've
all their
been
money.
doing, 100%. And not only that, the fact that they were clearly trying to rush Champions in order to get it out earlier to meet the quota of having Worlds as like a must-have. But I feel like NAIC was a nice to have. Where they're like, okay, what does that mean? That means they would really want to try to showcase champions at a very high level tournament earlier, create more buzz, and then work off of that buzz at a higher tier going into Worlds, where you've got Pokemon XP on top of it as well. You're trying to sort of like incorporate the whole Pokemon world experience through competitive, through just the casual sort of like come with your family, go check out all this different stuff that we've set up around the streets of San Francisco and whatnot, which I'm sure they'll have loads. But my point is, all of this builds up further. It's sort of like a what's it called, a stacking effect of hype and just I'll just say, just what's the word? Not hype. It's not only hype, just basically involvement or engagement. Sorry, that's the word. Engagement when it comes to all of the buzz being built from Pokemon side, where let's say Worlds is a hit. Pokemon XP goes amazing. The World Championships is fantastic with the big arena that they've got as well, especially with this kind of game. And they can have custom stuff. Fantastical. And then, to my point, September, when we probably will have the mobile release, like you mentioned now. And
it kind of leads into it quite nicely, actually.
Exactly. Exactly. It's literally just like a three-tiered sort of approach in having stacking multipliers in essence in order to amplify the crap out of the hype. And the fact that September will probably be the mobile release means, of course, that we're going to have the first season that will completely have champions at its whole and with mobile incorporated in order to make sure that the previous hype has paid off to getting even more people rocking up at these tournaments, which is why they need to make sure they've got enough space, because we've already seen the numbers skyrocket.
Yeah, I wonder how, because obviously we know that they probably book venues far in advance, right? And
I would imagine.
Probably for, I'm guessing, more than 1 year, right? Maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5 year contracts would probably make sense, right? Because you get your cheapest deal or whatever. Because we often see we go to the same place. So for them to, I wonder if they were able to plan that around the release of Champions, anticipating that the numbers will increase and that they'll need more space. But something tells me they haven't been able to, just because of, I think it is quite difficult to predict the demand. I mean, the Scarlet and Violet demand kind of, shot up a lot I think.
It did. It genuinely
From
did. Yeah,
Sword
yeah.
and Shield. So
Well, because we were averaging like 400, 500 players
yeah.
on average. There were sometimes like the 700 player tournaments
Mm-hmm.
with Sword and Shield, but then Scarlet Violet truly did
Like
increase that
commonplace to
average.
have like 400 or 500 at every regional, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, we're trying to look at some point. I think like I can flash back to Sword and Shield where we're trying to like break the 200 plus player threshold in order for us to get more championship points rewarded for, let's say, like the top 64 or the top 128s and all that. So you don't just like rock up a tournament, do how many rounds, and even though like let's say you come 65th, you get 0 points. And then it averaged with Scarlet and Violet at around 800, I think. And we were still like depending on like what format and stuff like that. It was just phenomenal heights. And we saw now EUIC, the one that just passed in London, the biggest ever Pokemon VGC tournament of all time. And that's just like a multi-seasonal achievement that we keep hitting the ceiling of.
And we still
And
haven't
now it's
had
just
NAIC.
Mate, well, the thing is with NAIC, based off of what I've been hearing with people trying to register and stuff like that, with the whole ticket entry things, I think they mentioned that it probably hit 1,300 something, which doesn't beat EUIC.
Yeah.
EUIC, let's go!
Suck it, Americans! Yeah.
Apologies to any of our lovely NA viewers. But no. Point is that unfortunately, it means we don't have as many people we could have because there are a lot of notable trainers, well-known players and stuff like that that missed their tickets and they weren't able to, make it all the way through. And that's sort of like the turn 0 of every tournament. Make sure you get a ticket. Or the round 0.
It is. We briefly touched on this before, and I do it again. It's not going to be like they're never ever going to perfect it. Like they're going to constantly change how the format and the structure works and the registration for events. And I'm curious to see how they deal with large players because I would be upset if it gets to a stage where like again it's just life, but like if it gets to a stage where I can't go register. Like I'm missing out on going to events. A legacy player who's been playing this format for a long time can no longer get to events because the demand is just so high, and he just gets unlucky with the ticket allocation. Would just suck.
It would, yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that I have a solution for this. And I'm not trying to say either that I don't want the scene to grow. It's just that
it's the price we pay.
Yeah. Maybe they should start looking at like you have to go to this many locals before you can go to a regional. Stuff like that to sort of show that you are invested.
I don't know how well that would go. I get what you're saying because you're just trying to find a way in order to say, hey, if people really want to try to go ahead and grind and sort of quote unquote prove that they deserve more of a spot there, maybe if they reach a certain championship point threshold or something like that, that already means it's sort of like privilege and in favor of a certain group of people versus other. And I feel like the general notion from all of these Pokemon tournaments should be anybody can rock up to a tournament to play against the very best, to become the very best. And what I would go a step further, where I do genuinely feel like, and this may have been where you were kind of leaning towards going, Scott, that we may even have to facilitate VGC only venues.
Oh, for sure. That's going to be a thing.
Because I genuinely see us hitting TCG numbers, potentially, if not higher, at least with the first season, definitely. Now, I don't know how second season.
I don't know if this is optimistic, but it feels like we could be heading towards like 1,000+ regional numbers next season.
We already have my lovely friend Turin is over 1,000. Turin, it's looking.
How did they allocate that much space though?
Well, because they've hit max capacity at Turin.
Is that venue big?
So I haven't been to Turin. I have heard of lovely stories around Turin. Lovely, take it with a positive and a negative. Um, just because of situations with I don't know like power cuts and all that have been quite detrimental to just a lot of stuff a couple of seasons ago. But then the place is lovely, whatever stuff. I've been to Bologna, that's great, but going to Turin, they have to always have a max capacity and a min capacity of like their expectations with how many players. So they need to be able to buy out for the max capacity. And it just seems like the space itself, the seats they've allocated is 1,300 ish,
That's
which
crazy.
has been absolutely just
For
ripped out
VG,
for VG only, VGC baby. That's it. And that is literally the highest attendance regional slash special, because Turin is technically a special event, equivalent to regional, aside from prizes
well,
and
that's
stuff
the
like that
thing. Will they
of
actually
all time.
get that numbers because it is a special? So
That is true. That is
I'm
true.
gonna end
But
up with the old 7,000 buys around one.
mate, I'll be honest with you. This particular special event, the first of its kind
It
on
would make sense.
Champion,
Yeah, that
it
is it
makes sense for it to be,
that popular.
completely maxed out. Yeah,
Mm.
that popular and completely maxed out. Like I genuinely feel like the threshold usually is about like 5-10% of people that have signed up to a special event
Hmm.
will bow out and essentially open up more slots because they're doing a quote unquote refund, right? Because technically it's free for you to sign up, so you're not paying anything back, but the seats or the position tickets are being reallocated. So it's around the 5 to 10% threshold. So let's say 1,300 players have signed up. We're going to expect, I don't know, 130 players to bow out, right? I genuinely feel like that's not going to be the case for this one. I feel like it's going to maybe be around 1 to 5% as opposed to 5 to 10% of people that back out, because this is Champions. This is the first EU Champions event of all
Mm.
time. And people, especially at the end of the season, going into NAIC, they want to try to get as many points as they can to make Worlds, which is going to be the first Champions Worlds in San Francisco.
Mm.
So I'm not surprised that it max capped completely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Where do you think World to be next year? Just a random side note. Back to Europe.
I would very much like it to, and this is no bias, and don't get me wrong, I've been to NA. I love NA, but I personally would prefer for it not to be NA. Although the one place I would be okay with it being NA would probably be Toronto. I went to Toronto earlier this season, this year actually in Jan. And it was just beautiful place, lovely people, but more importantly, and I was speaking to Sierra about this as well, the room and capacity they've got there
Hmm.
can easily fit a world's caliber level
Interesting.
sort of venue. And they've got like tiered underground stuff, so like the structures are just like fantastic, and the vibe and everything is just like make me Canadian, like nationalize me, because I'm all for it. Like please just run through with a Toronto. But no, aside from Toronto, ideally bias, I would like Europe. I would not like London, even though it would be very easy for me to travel to. I would very much like it to be another country that has not been represented as of yet.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like,
Yeah.
it would be great, obviously, and there's kind of us maybe saying that taking it for granted. But if I'm gonna qualify for Worlds, I feel like doing it. There's arguments of both, right? But like, well, it'd be a great time to qualify for Worlds if it's in your own country because then you haven't got to pay for travel. But then
Mhm.
also on the other hand, if you're going to qualify for Worlds, it'd be great, also fun to go to another country. So it's
Yeah.
just like there are both sides of the coin. But
Sure.
I can't. I'm kind of with you on that one. But yeah, I
Well,
think
which country would you want,
South Korea.
Scrappy Boy? Well, I thought you were talking about EU. Okay. All right. South Korea, I think it probably would be a
If I
number,
had to
wouldn't
pick
it?
one place, South Korea for sure.
Yeah, it would. I mean, to be
Sure.
fair, like
No
I've
reason.
seen fantastic stuff, like, and they've probably got like really good venues there as well, like in Seoul.
Probably they've
Yeah,
got loads of space over there.
mate, they will.
Stadium Park comes back. I mean, he's already come back for Champions. He's locked
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
He's
he's
locked
locked in.
in. The
Yeah,
GOAT of Pokemon, fucking
mate,
qualifying for every single type of fucking Pokemon game.
that's what I was gonna
Crazy.
say. So, is he gonna like dedicate to Champions this time
Who
as a
knows?
priority over the other? He's got to.
Who
He's got
knows?
to. I mean,
Maybe
Patrice's
if he
not in the
focused on
game.
one, he would fucking
Yeah.
win. He'd win something because he just spreads himself in. I'll qualify for everything, but I won't really win anything.
Hey, do not speak ill of my goat. Like, how dare you? Let him absolutely smash everybody's expectations
My
out of
boy.
the window. Oh wow, no, good
Love him.
Yeah, but who knows? Hopefully, he rocks up at Worlds and he's able to fucking smash it. I don't know if the qualifications have already gone through yet. I think they are pending for South Korea as well, with their own national event. Because it's sort of like we said, they're outside of the like
Asia's got their own
yeah,
sort of circuit, haven't they?
circuit, exactly. Yeah, they go under the ruling of TPC and individual sort of like region-based tournament stuff versus TPCI. That we do, and a lot of the Western world does, including Australia. But yes, yeah, it's very exciting stuff. There's a lot to dive into. This is still the beginning. I think we're on week 2 of Champions.
It's only week 2. Feels like it's been up for ages.
Yeah, well, it's week 2 going week 3, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah.
But unless I'm losing sight.
No, you're right. You're right. Coming out on Thursday, didn't it?
Yeah. And there's a lot more for us to show. And my hopes would be that at the end, coming up to the end of the first month, we get more info about what's coming down the line in terms
like a
of
roadmap.
format, like a roadmap. Exactly. That'd be
really good.
That'd be so good. I was going to say sexy, but yeah, I guess I said it now. It's going to be sexy. That'll be very sexy because I'm all for a timeline roadmap of content. Please give it to me. I want to see where we're kind of going, especially when it's, a game that's so close to our hearts. And, VGC champions, they could go different paths in terms of, trying to make sure the game stays alive and, stays popular in, viral sort of circles with all these content creators. The sky's the limit.
Yes.
I genuinely feel like the sky's the limit. That's the word, phrase, because it just depends on how much time and resource you put into this, because people are popping off, mate. And I know it's sort of like early game hype stuff, and people are like, okay, well, when's they start dying in terms of the big buzz. But that's the part where the developers and the people in charge of the circuit and stuff like that, that's where they need to pull up their big person pants or adult pants and whatnot, and make sure that they're keeping this alive with frequent updates and reasons for people to want to stay.
Yeah, next week we're going to dive into that topic a bit more about how they keep things fresh, because I think there's a lot to discuss on that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot to discuss, and hopefully we'll be joined back by Lee as well, so we can kind of get into a proper conversation with the boys and, go from there. I mean, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. Is there anything else you want to mention, Costa?
The things that I would mention is please make sure to leave likes, subscribe,
of course,
and all of the above with the different platforms that we are, of course, releasing to, that being our podcasts on Spotify and Apple Store, and then is it Apple Store? Did I say it right?
Yeah, iTunes.
Yeah, that
Apple
thing.
Podcasts.
Yeah, that Apple Podcast. That's one. And then obviously YouTube, and we're going to try to get more buzz going with our socials. But also, we do have a Discord server at the minute. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to properly update it with things. I think we're in the process of going ahead and making sure that we get a bit more buzz going on there. But if you want to go and hop in there and maybe even give us suggestions of topics that you would like us to cover as well, let us know. Feel free to join, and we shall speak there.
Yeah, we've also got a clips channel set up as well.
Yes,
Critical Catch clips. So if you don't want to watch all the episodes, we will be uploading clips on there. Sometimes it's just more digestible. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. This has been Costa and Scott on the Critical Catch podcast, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.